Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Meredith, one of the Who's Smart Viking educators, and it has been a while. Amy and I were talking about this beforehand, and I was like, I can't remember when the last time was I did a live. I wasn't on the schedule for any. So it's exciting to be back doing this again and being able to chat with all of you guys and go through some exciting things because it is National Sewing Month. So we are going to be celebrating today and just going back to the basics. Sometimes I feel like we forget things that we learned when we first started sewing, and they're just good reminders. Or if you're new to sewing, hopefully this will be a good starter class for you, or a good intro for the knowledge and the techniques and some resources that we have available for you all. So Amy is in the background today, and she will come over if you have any questions or you would like to see something again. Feel free to type that in the chat, and she will come over and give those. I'm going to actually switch over here really quick. 1 second. There we go. So again, welcome. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what machine you have too, since it's National Sewing Month. Tell us your machine and maybe tell us your favorite project that you have. Give us some inspiration. I'm always looking for new projects and things to try. So we would love to hear what y'all are working on this month. So we're going to get started. Again, it's just going to be a lot of information today, but hopefully you're going to learn something new, or again, that this is new to you and you're just going to be introed into sewing in some new ways and some knowledge. So we're going to start out first with the app. So there is the Creativate app. I'm going to switch over to this camera here. This is the Creativate app. And I'll pull it up so you can, it's this little star one right here. And it's going to pull up right here. So what's really neat is anybody can access this app. Anybody. You don't have to have a Husqvarna Viking, FOF, Singer machine. You can access this app with any brand. And why that's so exciting is because there's so much information and knowledge in here just for sewing. It doesn't have to be specifically about your machines, which we're going to go through that. There is a lot in here about each individual machine that we have currently in our line, but it's just good information if you're new to sewing or you're wanting to look at a specific machine and don't have a store close by, or are just wanting to get more information and, look at the different options that you have. This is a great resource to go to as well. So let's come back over here. I have already preloaded in some of my machines. So these are some of the machines that I have, but I also have some other ones in here that I want to show you just to show you the difference between a top of the line versus an entry-level machine as well. So you can also add new machines. You can see all of the SVP branded machines that we have in here, and you can scroll through and see them all. If you're specifically Husqvarna Viking, you can see those machines and so forth as you go down. Again, not every machine is in here, but all of the current line machines are in here, as well as some of the previous predecessor to the current line ones. So like the original Epic, the Epic 2, some of those different age machines are in there as well. So I already have selected, I'm going to go back here, and you can search your model number and name as well too. I already have some selected in here. We're going to come back to those in a minute. I just want to talk about what else is on this first screen. So creative space. So if we go to embroidery, this is what most people are going to be familiar from. This is what the My Sewnet app used to look like and what you would see when you would open that. You've got the design placement, the it's Creativate now, Creativate monitor. So if you have a Wi-Fi enabled machine, you can connect your machine directly in here. So I can walk away, go cook dinner for my kids, and if my thread needs to be changed or my thread breaks or whatever it may be, it will notify me. It'll send me like a little ping, a little notification on my phone saying, hey, you need to change your thread. You need to switch it out, whatever it may be. So all of that's going to be there. You have the QR code creator still in here and photo stitch. We've done some lives on these before, so I'm not going to go through all of these today, but again, just wanted to show you that those are in here. And then you have the sewing assistant right here. So because I have the Designer Epic 3 listed first, that one's going to be there, but you can click the drop down to see all the ones you've selected, or again, at the bottom, add a different one. Within that, you're going to see the Joy OS Advisor right here. And I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but I still have notifications coming through. Apologizes there. So the different things. So there's sewing, there's quilting. What you're going to see on here is what you're going to see on the screen of the machine as well. So if we come over here and come up here to the Joy OS Advisor, all of those options are there as well. So whatever you can find in one, you're going to be able to find in the other. So why that's helpful is if you are out and about at your local craft store, you can pull up stabilizers and look at different options that you may need, or needles. You can pull up needles. Let's look at that one here. And you can see the different types of needles. So overview, needle anatomy, what a needle is and how it works. There's different utility ones. So there's universal, top stitch. So if you click on one of these two, it's going to tell you what that's for. So a top stitch needle, here's an example, is a very large eye needle and makes it ideal for top stitching with heavier threads. So if you have a specific project in mind and you're like, I'm not sure which type of needle I need, you can come right in here and find the different needles that we have available or that are available out there and figure out the best one for you. They're going to be listed in multiple options as well. So for decorative stitching, again, top stitch quilting needle is there, twin needles, felting needles, wing needle, lots of different options. Specialty, so denim, leather. Sometimes it's really cool to see new sewists and they're like, wow, I had no idea there was so many different types of needles. You need a different needle for a different project. You're going to be successful with the right needle for the right material you're working on or the right stitching you're trying to do. So really be conscious of the needle that you're using. Not all needles are created equal in that way. So any questions on, let's stop right there. We're going to do any questions on needles. I'll give you a second to add in any questions if you have them. I want to mention too, and I will probably say this a few times, we'll go through changing a needle and I'll show you, for those that are beginners, what to look for when you're inserting a needle in your machine. But needles have a life. They do not last until they break. They don't last for forever. Needles are meant to be changed out every 6 to 8 hours of sewing. It's like your car. You get your oil changed every so often, things like that. You need to change your needle every 6 to 8 hours of sewing. I do it. If I've done a big project, I'm probably going to change my needle. I may have not done 6 to 8 hours of sewing, but it's going to make a difference. So if you're having thread breaking, change your needle. Your needle may have like a burr or something on it that's causing that thread to break. All of those different things, a lot of troubleshooting things can be rectified with changing your needle. So keep that in mind. Amy, any questions on needles first?
No questions on needles yet, Meredith, but would you please, because I had a couple people ask over on YouTube, just again, the name of the app,
Yeah.
just if they already had the old app, etc., it's not changed.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
So let's go back here. This is what the app is going to look like. It's going to be this little star Creativate app right there. So if we click on that, so it has it. I want to say it's changed from the MySewNet app, but it's been enhanced. You're going to find all the things you could find on the MySewNet app, plus so much more. And they're continuously adding to the app as well. So if a new machine comes out or, stabilizer changes or, whatever it may be, a new project comes up, they're going to be adding that to the app. And you can always access that on your phone, your tablet, wherever that app is. Whatever your login is for your Creativate account, online, like whatever you use to log in on your computer, is going to be the same login you're going to use for the Creativate app. The app is free. You can access the app whether you have a enabled machine or not, a Wi-Fi enabled machine or not. You can access it. So does that answer those questions, Amy?
I think it should. And also let's remind people that if you already had the MySewNet app, the only thing that has changed on your device is the name of the app. You don't need to download anything new.
No, they were really good about just changing the name, transferring it over. They didn't necessarily do that with the predecessor machines, but they did with all the current line machines. You're going to see the MySewNet name is going to be changed to Creativate. So again, it's just a name change. It's still the same SVP branded material and information. So it's just the name change. Any other questions, Amy?
No, ma'am, you're good to go on.
Okay, perfect. So let's come back over here. Let's go back to our sewing assistant and we're going to go back to the Joy OS Advisor because I want to talk about some of these other things that are in here. So you've got sewing, quilting, embroidery, getting started. This is for my new sewist, my new sewing machine owners. If you've gotten a new machine or you're looking at getting a new machine, this is going to be where you want to go first. So setting up your machine, it's going to talk about, again, I'm with the Epic 3 right now, so I'll show you a couple different options in a minute. But this is going to tell you how to thread your thread, how to use the needle threader, how to wind a bobbin, how to insert it. All of that is right here on the screen. If I come up here and I touch the Onyx 30, which is more of an entry-level machine, and I go back to getting started and setting up my machine, same information, it's just going to show it for your machine. So if we go to wind a bobbin, let's see if it'll play. And there's even videos. Y'all look at this. Little interactive videos are going to show you how to put your thread on, that you've got to have your spool cap, and how to thread it. So many people have been asking for manuals and things like that, and we have gone green with a lot of our machines to where we don't have the manuals anymore, but that's okay because it's all right here on the app, and we have these video instructions, diagram instructions, all the information for getting started. All that information should be in the top of the box as well when you open up your brand new machine. So let's come back over here. And again, it's got all the written instructions as well if you would like to just read that too. So different options there. I want to go back. You will notice that you don't have as many options. So with the Onyx 30, it's obviously not an embroidery machine, so you're not going to see the embroidery options. So just depending on what machine it is that you have is going to be the information you need. But you can access all these machines. So if you're wanting to learn something new, or again, if you have an entry-level machine and you're looking for the next level, this is a great place to look at them as well. This is where you're going to find your user manual, like I had mentioned. It's going to be you can see it all right here and scroll through it. And again, it's easier if you have a tablet, if you would like to see there. You can zoom in if you need to. You can open it as a PDF as well. So all of the machine pertinent information is going to be here on some of the pages as well. So if I go back to the Designer Epic 3, I can actually go to the product page on the website. It's going to take me directly there, and it's going to give me all of that information. So again, for those people that are looking at machines and trying to find the right one for them, this is another good place where you're going to find a lot of details about that machine. So let's go back and go back to the JoyOS Advisor. There's advanced features, accessories. This is one of my favorite ones here. There we go, accessories. So machine accessories, the multifunction foot control. If you're like me and you have to have all of the accessories for your machine, this is going to tell you which ones that are available for this machine, so you can see if there's one that you may not have or how to use them as well. So yarn couching, different techniques are going to be in here as well. So for yarn couching, there's a special foot for that, cut work needles, all of that, all of those specialty things, the free arm hoop, it's going to tell you how to do those, and you would need the free arm hoop. All of that type of thing is going to be in here, all that information. If you wanted to do quilting, all of that's in here. And attaching the quilt binder, this is one I know a lot of people need assistance with, is putting on the quilt binder. So it's got all the instructions down here. And then sometimes you'll find images on how to mount it and things like that. So if you're up late and you're needing a refresher on how to do something or a specific technique, you can pull up the Creativate app and find all that information there. So let's see. What else am I forgetting? Stabilizer, that's another one I wanted to pull up. Stabilizer is just as important as needles. Not every project is going to need stabilizer, but you will be more successful with stabilizer on specific projects. So within here, you can go and find the different stabilizers that we have, but also, you know, the majority of what's in here is a universal type stabilizer. So you're going to find it in many different brands and whatnot if you're out and about. Different water soluble batting as well, the inner foam plus, cutaway, tearaway, and it's going to tell you what they're for as well. So if we go to a cutaway down here at the bottom, it's going to tell you how to use it and what the best uses are for it as well. So sweatshirt fleece, polar fleece, things like that are going to be for cutaway, those thicker materials and things. Any questions, Amy, on the app and what it has? I'm trying to think. Oh, the design booklet too. This is another exciting thing here too, because I don't always have this handy, and it's kind of nice just to be able to quickly go through the different designs. These still come with the machines, these design booklets. As far as I know, they still do. But all of the designs that are on your respective machine are going to be found in here as well. Amy, any questions on any more of that so far?
Somebody is asking about, does the brand of needle that you are using matter?
Mm-hmm. Is that just that one for? Okay, sorry, I didn't know if you had other questions. I didn't want to answer it until you were done.
For now.
No, the brand is not. So we have our own branded needles, Husqvarna Viking, Pfaff, Singer needles. We have our own needle factory to make our own needles, which I think is really cool. But you don't have to use them. I will tell on myself. I needed some more. I'm doing something on Pfaff tomorrow. I'm doing a live tomorrow. And I needed some more twin needles. And I didn't have enough in our brand. So I actually went to my local dealer that is an SVP dealer. And I picked up some needles, which I don't know where I put them at right now. But they are Schmidt's needles, and they're twin needles. So again, in my drawer over here, I have other brands. I'm probably going to get in trouble for showing that. But I have the Husqvarna Viking. I mean, it's really whatever you have access to, they will work. As long as they have that flat back on the top of the needle, and we're going to go through that, inserting the needle and things like that in a little bit. As long as they have that flat back, they can be used in our machines. They don't have to be specifically Husqvarna Viking. But
Meredith, talk about the difference of the eye of the needles.
Yes. So the eye of the needles is different. And that's where it goes back to what you're doing. So again, with the top stitch needle, you're going to have a bigger eye for that thicker thread. So I wouldn't use an embroidery needle necessarily if I'm doing top stitch, because embroidery thread is a lot thinner. It's just for decorative sewing. It's not to attach things together and whatnot. So it really does matter what machine you're using or what needle you're using for the project that you're doing as well. Is that sort of what you were thinking, Amy?
I was thinking about the fact that the needle eye shape on the Husqvarna Viking, Pfaff, Singer needles is a different shape than your Schmidt's needle eye. It's a little bit longer so that it's a lot easier to thread as well.
Okay.
I do have another question here as well.
Okay.
Somebody wanting to know, again, how to find the app and how to get it on her phone.
So you can go, hold on a second. You can go to the, let me find it. Hold on. I'm showing y'all all my phone right now. You can go to your app store and go to search, and right up here, Creativate, and you can search it. It's going to be that one right there with the purple and the blue and red, yellow star, Creativate. You can just search it directly in the app store and then open it and download it. Anything else, Amy?
I think that's it so far.
Okay. So I'm trying to think if there's any, Amy, was there anything else on the app that I wanted to talk about before I move on to the machine? I'm pulling it back up really quick just to make sure.
I think that's everything that you told me.
Okay. Yeah, just go explore the app. Again, you don't have to be an SVP owner to use the app. You can access it if you're just getting into sewing and things like that, just as a good information source. So let's come over here. We're going to go to my machine now. So let me preface this really quick too. What I'm showing you today is definitely is on a Husqvarna Viking Epic 3, our top of the line machine. But a lot of the techniques and the information I'm giving you can be used with the entry-level machines as well. So I don't want you to feel like you're being left out or that this can only be done on these high-end machines. Directly on this screen, a lot of that is only on these more advanced machines, but the end goal of what you're wanting to do, sewing, and what the technique is can be done on your machine as well. So let's go over here. This is, again, the JoyOS Advisor, and everything that you saw on the app, you're going to find right here as well. So we're going to go to sewing, and that's going to pull up all of this information here. You're going to see different fabric options to choose from. So there's woven, stretch, leather, and vinyl. So I can go to woven, and I can choose woven light, and it's going to give me my woven light options right here. If I wanted to go medium, you're going to see it's going to change. I love that this machine is so smart that it can tell me, I don't even have to think about, oh, well, that quilting fabric, should I use that with light? No, I shouldn't. I should go to medium, or even, terry cloth, those thicker fabrics. It's going to have all of that there. You're going to notice also, it's going to change your different techniques. So you have sewing techniques. These are going to be basic sewing techniques that you're going to do with any type of machine, just a normal seam, overcast, things like that. You're going to have exclusive sewing techniques. So these are exclusive to Husqvarna Viking. FOF has their own as well. So embellishment stitches, theme stitches, all of that's going to be in here. And then you're going to find projects as well. So these are some of the projects, and they do continuously add more projects in there as well. So if we come back up here to technique, I have on here now woven medium. If I go to vinyl, my basic sewing, let me come back up here really quick, woven. I've got 8 different options to do within here. But if I choose vinyl, I lose some of those options. I no longer can do, I don't have a base on there. I don't have a seam or an overcast because vinyl doesn't ravel, so I don't need that as an option. You're just going to find those different options there. You're not going to do a blind hem with vinyl, things like that, so that's not going to be in there. I love that it's going to tell me what is best for that material that I'm using or what technique it is. So I'm going to come up here and choose woven medium, and then we're just going to select a seam, which is just a straight stitch. And it's going to bring up instructions for that. We're going to go back over this. It's not necessarily pertinent for a seam, but when we do some of the other techniques, it will be. So let's come over here. I'll move my stuff out of the way here. So I already have my machine threaded. Let's talk about needles really quick before we move on to just sewing a seam. If you guys don't have one of these tools, you need to visit your local dealer. It is a is it a multi-purpose or I forget what I called it was not what it was, but one of these little tools. These are my favorite things. It has a screwdriver in the end with a magnet. So when I unscrew my needle, if I were to unscrew that all the way, it would stay in here. And then I've got the screwdriver at the bottom to pop my plate. So the needle here, this is going to be kind of hard to see. Let's see if I can show it better here. You guys see that good? So here's the needle, and if you look, there is a flat back on that needle right there that my finger's going across. That is always going to go in the back of your machine, that flat part. And then there's the needle, and the eye, and all those things. So to put these in, our machines, most of them come with this fun little tool right here. This is called a clearance plate, or better known as a hump jumper, is what I learned to call it as. But on this is this little hole right here, and it's kind of a little circle with a flat part on this other side. Your needle fits in there just the right way so that you know when you put it in the needle or to insert it, you're going to have it facing the right way. So we're going to just insert it up right in there. And I'm going to use this versus my fat fingers to get up in here. I'm going to use my clearance plate to hold that in there. And then I'm just going to tighten my needle screw. Again, just finger tight. We're not cranking it, things like that. So that's how you insert that in there. Any questions on that, Amy? Really quick. And again, you want to change that needle every 6 to 8 hours of sewing. I cannot stress that enough. Funny story, Amy and I used to work in the gallery stores, and we have many experiences with customers coming in and saying, hey, I broke my needle. I need a new needle. And we were like, hey, what are you working on? When was the last time you changed it? And they had never changed their needle, and it just broke. So you definitely want to use the right needle and change it often. Any questions on needles, Amy, really quick? Or inserting it?
I'm not seeing any needle questions. Nope, I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, perfect. So now that I have this threaded, we just have it set up for a straight seam. So there are different feet. If I'm doing just a straight stitch, I'm going to want to use the A foot. And you're going to notice this particular A foot has this little cutout in the back for the IDT. Amy, ask me, how do I know I need to use the A foot for my straight stitch?
How do you know you need to use the A foot for your straight stitch, Meredith?
Right here on my screen, it's going to tell me which foot I should be using. So again, it takes all of the thought away. When I'm sewing, I can just be like, oh, I need my A foot. I don't even have to think about it. I'm going to snap my A foot on and be good to go. If I switched to a zigzag stitch, it's going to stay the same. But if I come over here to satin stitches, and I'm going to show you all this in a minute, it changes. And there's some other things that change too. But we're going to come back to that. We're going to go back to an A foot straight stitch right there. And we're just going to sew down. What's really great about most of the Husqvarna Viking machines is it has these sensor systems. So I'm going to leave my hands right here, and you're going to see my presser foot go down all on its own. It's magic, I know. But I'm actually using my foot pedal. I'm going to use my foot pedal to sew, but it's also going to lower my presser foot, and it can tell how high that presser foot is, and it's going to adjust the tension up and down as I sew as well. So I'm just going to start sewing here. I have my IDF engaged in the back, so it's a built-in walking foot. This is life-changing. If you have never sewn on a machine with the IDF or the IDT for FOF, this is the way to go. So I want to turn my fabric. Say I want to turn this at a right angle. I'm not going to turn my hand wheel. I mean, I can turn my hand wheel and lower it into my fabric, or I can press the button right here, and it's going to lower my needle into my fabric. But did you notice my presser foot raised? Let me show you all that again. So my presser foot's on my fabric, it's down, and it raised up a little bit. So now I can turn and start sewing again. Again, I'm just using my presser foot. So stop with it down, and I can make those easy turns. So if you're a beginner sewist, you don't want to raise up your presser foot to turn if your needle is not down in the fabric. So having this as an option to stop with the needle in the down position is such a game changer, because I can make those right turns just like that. And I have a fancy little thread cutter. I'm going to push that button, and there we go. So that is sewing. Let's go over to, I'm going to come back over here. We're going to now come over to a satin stitch right here. And there is satin category. You can take, let's come back over here to this utility. You can take a zigzag stitch, and we can lengthen it, make it longer, or we can make it more narrow or skinnier. But you can only go so far. That's more of just like a zigzag. It's still not a satin stitch, which you would want for doing appliques and things like that. So we're going to go to a satin stitch, and I'm going to change my foot because it says B foot. So let's talk about the difference between the A and the B foot. Here's my B foot here. So the obvious difference between the A and the B, and these are pretty universal feet that are going to come with most machines. If you don't have both A and B, you're most likely going to have the B option, because it's going to have the area in the back for satin stitching and things like that. You can use a B foot in place of an A foot. You cannot use an A foot in place of a B foot, because on the back side, you're going to see that the B foot has this little ramp, and it's basically giving you space for those thicker, more decorative stitches or satin stitches, where the A foot does not. So again, you can use a B foot for a straight stitch. I would not use an A foot for a decorative stitch, because it doesn't have that space to allow those thicker stitches to guide smoothly through there. So we're going to attach our B foot, and I need to disengage my IDF right there. I'm going to actually change my thread. I was going to keep it white, but I want you guys to see what I'm sewing as I'm doing it. So we're going to switch over to black. And while I'm doing that, let's talk about threads here. So there are different types of threads and how they're wound. Let me show y'all here. So you'll notice this one here is a Coates & Clark, and it's wound straight on, where this one here is, I think it was probably Gutermann or something, but it's wound cross wound. So if you have a machine that does not have the telescopic thread guide that some of the higher end machines have, these are going to be laid down on the spool pin. And when you go to the Creativate app and look up different machines, you'll notice, like on the Onyx 31 that I showed you, it showed you how to put it on the horizontal spool pin. And when you put that on the horizontal spool pin on any brand machine, you want your thread to come over the top like a waterfall, or, you know, it is the ongoing debate. How does your toilet paper go on? Does it go on over the top, or do you have a cap and it goes on underneath? But it goes over the top like a waterfall. That's how it's going to go on, because of how it comes off. It comes off cleaner and makes it easier when you're sewing. So just keep that in mind. If you are using a horizontal spool pin, you want it to come over the top like a waterfall. But I have my fancy telescopic one, so I'm just going to put it on and bring it over. But I was talking with Amy about this. I've had some issues with one of my threads. I think it's just the spool. I don't know why, because I haven't had this issue before, where what's happening is my thread is coming down and then wrapping around that spool pin underneath here. And so you have also these things in your accessories called a thread net. These are great. I really have only ever used these with metallic threads and things like that because they just fall off of the spools. But in this case, it's going to be helpful for me because it's going to keep my thread from falling down underneath. So I'm just going to set it right on my spool pin just like this. And my thread's going to come over the top and it's not going to fall underneath and get caught underneath and wrapped around that spool pin. So I'm going to switch over to my black thread really quick. Amy, any questions while I rethread my machine really quick here?
I'm not seeing any questions that I haven't been able to just answer in the chat.
Okay.
Specific questions. I think we're good.
All right, so let's go back. So again, I'm going to do a satin stitch now, which is just a bona fide zigzag stitch that is really grouped together. I've got my B foot on, and I'm going to use a darker thread so you can see this here. So because it's a bulkier stitch, it's going to need that space, again, underneath the presser foot to move smoothly through there. So you're going to see it start to come out from behind, just right there. And we're going to cut our thread. I have my white thread all streaming across it right now. So there's going to be our zigzag stitch, and you can make our satin stitch. You can make it wider too if you wanted to. You could make it a little bit more narrow. You can still adjust these as well. So I can make it more narrow and get it really, really fine. I don't know that I'd necessarily recommend going that fine. And you can make it wider if you wanted to as well, if you needed a bigger or a wider stitch there. But you're also going to use the stitch for decorative stitches. So let's just go find a fun little, let's go to this and that to show you as well. Let's do the little shark here. So we're still going to use the B foot. And this is just for fun to show you all some different options. And the reason we don't have the IDF engaged as well is you can notice that this machine or this stitch, it goes backwards as well. So it's going to come and do the bottom of the shark and then go backwards. Well, the IDT or IDF only goes one direction. It can't go backwards. So you wouldn't want it engaged in this case as well. One thing that I forgot, and I'm surprised nobody has called me out on this yet. I do have it, but I forgot to talk about it, is stabilizer. For different stitches, especially if you're using the B foot and you're doing a decorative stitch, you're going to want stabilizer. And we talked about having the stabilizer options on the app to look at all the different stabilizers. But if you come over here to your machine, it's going to tell you that you need stabilizer as well. So this is your telltale, hey, I need to make sure I need to get something because it's going to be a thicker stitch and need that stability there as well. So any questions on the A versus the B? When you use it, anything like that?
I'm not seeing any questions yet.
Okay. Another thing I wanted to talk about with thread was, I'm sort of hopping all over, but it's weird because there's a lot of different things and I can talk about them on different times and whatnot. So with your machine, you are also going to have different spool caps. Let me show you here. Different size spool caps. I would not want to use my small spool cap on this one. You want to make sure whatever spool cap you're using is larger than your spool of thread. And the reasoning for that is some threads, they get those little notches in them. It used to be where you would catch your thread on that notch. And now we've got these fun little grooves to put them in. And just in case people didn't know, you can actually lift those up when you put your thread in there. Just like that, and then push it all back down. Anyway, you can still get little notches and little nicks on it. And so what will happen is your thread will get caught on that, and then it's going to pull and your thread won't be progressing, and you'll end up with your bobbin thread on top. You'll see it on the top of your fabric. So just make sure you're always using a spool cap that is larger than your spool of thread that you're using. So let's talk about the, we're going to go back to a different material, but still using, this is just a normal chino fabric, medium weight fabric. Let's talk about knits. So again, not all needles are created equal. Not all thread, things like that are created equal. So we're going to come back over here and we're going to choose just a straight stitch. And I still have this selected as woven. This is not what you would do, but I'm going to show it to you anyway to show you the differences. So I'm just going to do a straight stitch down, and it wants me to have the IDT. Do you see that right there? So, and I have the B foot on, so let's switch that out. I love that it stopped me and made me reevaluate and think about what I had. So now I've got the A foot and I have my IDT engaged. So we're just going to do a straight stitch down. Just like that. And you can see it sewed through. It sewed through, no issues, just fine. But when I go to stretch this, it breaks. I broke my threads. You see that in there now? So when you're doing stretch or knit fabric, you want to have a stretch or knit stitch. So if we come back over here, we're going to go back up to our Joy OS Advisor because it has all of that information. It's smarter than us. We're going to choose stretch fabric, and it's just a medium, and we're going to select a seam. Yes, I want to clear what I'm working on. And if you notice, look at that stitch now. That's not the stitch that's straight. Oh, that's not the straight stitch I had before. It's like a little lightning zigzag stitch. So we're going to stitch that out now, and you're going to see the difference. When you do these stretch stitches, it's kind of going to move back and forth just a little bit. So let it do its thing. It will progress. And you're going to notice it's going to look a little different. So when I get to the end here, let's cut our thread. Now, when I go to stretch this material, it's not going to break. Look at that. It does not break. I pulled that all the way apart, and like these are still breaking up here. I'm pulling this as far as I can, and it's not stretching. So again, you want to use the right stitch for the right material, for the right technique. You would want to use a knit. There are knit stretch needles as well. I just have a universal in here for today just because I'm going between a lot of things. It can be done, but you would want to use a knit needle because the end of it is made differently to push these aside, the fibers versus breaking them, things like that. Any questions on knit materials before we move on to the next thing?
I'm not seeing any questions yet.
Awesome. I need Joe to ask questions because I needed a quick water break. It's helpful when there's questions coming in. So let's do denim now. We're going to come back up here to our Joy OS Advisor and go to sewing. We're going to choose woven again, but we're going to choose woven heavy this time. So, and now I know it says denim right there. And we're just going to do a normal seam. We're going to clear what we were working on. And I want to show you how awesome. And again, this can be done on even our entry-level machines. This is not just because this is the top of the line machine. So what we're going to do first, this is 2 layers of denim I have folded in half. I'm going to line this up with the edge of my foot here. And we're just going to sew a straight seam all the way down. 2 layers of fabric, easy peasy, no issues. We're going to cut that there. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take that and we're going to push that down. And we're going to sew on top to sew this down. So this is now going to be 3 layers of fabric right here. Just along the edge there. So again, no issues, sewing right over it. 3 layers of fabric. So I'm sure you're starting to figure out what we're working on. Let me see so you can see a little bit better here. This is what the side seam in your pants looks like in your denim jeans. But so that's 3 layers we've done there. So we can't have this raw edge at the bottom, right? So we need to fold that under. So we're going to fold this up. So now I have 6 layers right here, but we still can't have that raw edge there. We're going to fold it one more time to hide that raw edge. And now I have 9 layers of fabric right here. I have 3 on the sides here, but 9 where the seam is. And we're going to sew over it. You want to make sure that you're sewing. So here's where my fold over was. We don't want to sew against that because what it's going to do is it's going to pull that up. We want to sew with it. So we're going to line this up right here and we're going to sew all the way across, but I'm going to do something a little different. When I start to get over here, I'm going to stop with my needle down When I get a little bit closer, watch the front of my foot. You see how it's starting to raise up? Those front little feet are starting to move upward. So what I'm going to do now, my needle's in the down position. I'm going to raise my presser foot up. I'm not going to do it again because if I raise it up one more time, my needle's going to come out. I'm going to take this fancy little piece of plastic that I have here called my clearance plate or my hump jumper, and I'm going to pick one of these two ends. You'll notice this one's a little bit thinner than this one. We're going to place it right underneath on the back side. And what this does is it's going to trick my machine into thinking that my entire presser foot is at this height now versus the height that was at before. And so it's going to adjust that tension as I go. And I'm going slow so you can see, but you don't have to go slow. You can still go the same speed. When you get to the end, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put that clearance plate in front and sew until it gets off of that little hump. And now when it goes down even lower because it's not as thick there. And we're going to keep sewing. And again, you saw, I'll go through that one more time. I'll show you that and not change up speeds. But it had no issues going through those 9 layers just like that. So let me do it one more time and I'm going to go my full speed talking. So, because I know sometimes people are like, hey, you slowed down over that thick part. Yes, you want to slow down a little bit, but you can still go your normal speed. And Amy, I see we got a question.
Yes. A couple of questions, actually. Somebody wanted to know how to set your stitches for when you're top stitching, and also should you use top stitching thread?
Yes, you would use top stitching thread. Again, for what I'm doing today, I'm just going through everything. I don't want to say quickly, but I don't have time to change thread every single time, change needle every single time. So it can be done that way. Amy, suggestions on setting it, because you would probably know better than I do with garments about that. I am not a garment sewist per se. Amy would be the better to answer that question, if that's okay, Amy.
I don't mind at all. I would say the general rule there would be when you are top stitching that you are using a slightly longer stitch length than you would normally use when you are actually sewing your seams together. So if you normally sew your seams at a 2.5 millimeter stitch length, I would suggest using a 3 millimeter stitch length for when you are top stitching.
Perfect. Thank you. And then I'll say the opposite of that. Whenever you're quilting or piecing, you're actually going to shorten your stitch length just by 1 or 2 as well. So again, depends on the technique, depends on what you're doing, the project, materials. There's so many different factors in it. But when you go to the app or on your machine to the Joy OS Advisor, if you can tell it what type of material you're sewing on and what you're wanting to do, like the technique, it's going to tell you what type of needle you're going to need, what if you need stabilizer, things like that. And I will show you also on the screen, if I'm choosing, so let's come back up here. It will sometimes change the default length and width for whatever it is you're doing. So let's come up here and we're going to choose, I've got woven light, and let's just do a seam and see if it makes a difference. So I'm at 2.0 for my length here. So let's come back up here and choose, let's see, Amy, let's test this. I'm going off the cuff here, y'all. We're going to go to, let's go back up here to woven and go to woven heavy and go to a seam and see if it still gives us that 2.0 length. Nope, it changed it to 3.0. So on our machines that are like this with the technology, it's going to give you the best setting for whatever it is, as long as you told it the specific material or weight that you're using. It's going to take all of that thought away. It's going to adjust that tension. It's going to adjust the length and different things like that. You really don't even have to think about it. That's why I was like, Amy, this is a great question. I'm not too sure because I don't have to think about it. My machine has done that thought for me. So any other questions? I see somebody asked what machine I was using. I'm using the Designer Epic 3 Husqvarna Viking. But again, everything that we're talking about today is pertinent to any level machine that you have. If you have an Onyx, if you have a Jade, if you have a Topaz, if you have any other brand of machine too, the techniques and the language and the sewing side of it is universal across all of those machines. So any other questions, Amy?
I think we're all caught up.
Okay, perfect. I'm trying to think of what else was, oh, let's go through when you would use different feet. So some of the different feet that are going to come with your machine, Again, what I'm showing you may not be everything that you have. Some machines come with fewer, some come with more, but let's just go through the different feet you're going to find, or the basic ones that you're going to find on here, or with your machine. So you're going to have an A and or a B foot. If you don't have an A foot, you're going to have this B foot with that ledge. I'm losing my words, with the ledge on the back there. So we talked about those. You're going to have a C foot, and it's either going to be like this, or there's another buttonhole foot. I did not put mine out, I guess. Let's see. Do I have it over here? Yes, I got it over here. Here we go. So these are the different buttonhole feet you're going to have. If you have a sensor system buttonhole, this is the one you're going to have. Or if you're just doing a basic buttonhole, you're going to have the C foot. Then you're going to have a D foot, which is for... why am I losing my brain? I know the J foot's for overcasting. What's the D? Why am I forgetting the name?
Blind hem.
Thank you, blind hem. I'm like, I know what it is. It's one of the techniques. A blind hem. You're going to have your D foot. Then you're going to have your J foot. These, again, are going to be what you're going to have here. And then you'll probably have a zipper foot. The J foot is going to be for like your seam and overcast. So a seam and overcast stitch is going to be like a serged stitch without a serger. It's going to give you that... it's going to go off the edge of your fabric to keep your fabric from fraying. So you would do a seam and an overcast when you're putting two pieces of fabric together that you're wanting to clean up those edges. And you're going to do an overcast stitch when you just have one piece and you want to clean up those edges. So like with this denim, if I didn't want to do two folds, which I'm not sure why you wouldn't, but just throwing out an example, I could do that overcast stitch right here and then fold that over and do the seam on top of it so that it would keep all of this from fraying underneath. And then you're going to have a zipper foot. Those are going to be the basic ones that you're going to get with it. But some of them also come with an H foot, which is a Teflon non-stick foot. This is great for leather and vinyl so that it doesn't catch on it. And you're going to have an embroidery foot of some kind. So this is the one for here. But then there's also an R foot, which is a smaller clear one. And I think that's it for the basic utility feet. Is there one I'm forgetting, Amy? I'm looking in my... because all these other ones I have are ones, these are the feet. Let me show you all, side note. These are the feet that I probably use the most, and I leave them right up in the top where my thread and stuff goes, or my piecing foot and my open toe foot. So these are the ones I use the most. Is there any other feet that I'm missing, Amy?
I don't think so. I think that's the basic feet. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions on those feet? Or if you'd like to see something with one of them, I can quickly show you. I know we've done blind hem and seam and overcast and stuff in the past, but I hope that makes sense when you would use a seam and overcast versus an overcast. A blind hem is if you are hemming the bottom of your pants. So my husband knows not to ask me to hem his military pants, but if I needed to, having that so that you don't see the stitching when you do a blind hem, there's a few stitches that you always test before you actually sew them on whatever it is you're doing. And it's going to be a buttonhole and a blind hem, because you want to make sure that you have the width of that blind hem so that you don't see too much of your thread on the right side. And you want to make sure that you're using a thread that matches your material when you're doing a blind hem. So any other questions?
Someone mentioned the P foot and the S foot.
Oh, yes.
Come in. Yep.
Did I not get I thought I got my S foot out. Maybe I didn't. So the S foot is going to be on it's going to be on both FOF and HV, but for HV, for Husqvarna Viking, it's going to be your wider stitches. So let's look at those really quick. I'll show you some of those. We're just going to start new here. We're going to come all the way over to these Omni Motion stitches, which are bigger stitches. They're wide stitches. So I touch one of them. You see they're a lot wider than like that shark one. When I come back over to the shark here, you'll see. You see how much wider those are. So you have that bigger foot. The S foot is basically just like a B foot with that opening on the back, but it's got a wider, it's just a bigger foot. Let me see. Hold on one second. I think I've got it over here. I do. Here we go. Let me show you the difference. So here is the B foot right here, and this is the S foot. And you can tell it's bigger foot. It's bulkier and bigger. So that's going to be the S foot. And then one of those ones that I was holding up a little bit ago are going to be your P foot. So that's going to be your piecing foot. This doesn't always come with all of the machines, But this is going to be, if you're quilting and piecing things together, this is going to be the foot. And the one I probably use the most is the P with the flange with the guide on the side. So if you don't have this with the flange, it is my absolute favorite. And our piecing feet now have a wider hole in them. It's more like an oval versus a circle, so that you can make that scant 1/4 inch as well. So you can adjust the needle a couple to the left or a couple to the right as well. Anything else? I mean, I hope that covers everything. I covered everything on my list that I wanted to talk about. Again, that app is the Creativate app, and you can download it from any of the app stores on Android or iPhone. It's free. Anybody can use it. You don't have to have one of our machines, and you can access it. You just need to create a Creativate account. But again, we're not asking for any of your personal information to create that. It's just, creating with your name and email and stuff. And that's going to be your login. So whatever your login is for your Creativate software and to get on the website is going to be the same for that app as well. Any other questions, Amy?
There is a question which you as an Android user may not know this, but if you are an iPhone user and you are looking for the Creativate app, you still need to search My Sewnet. And It should be the second app that comes up on the list when you do it. It's a hold up on Apple's end getting that search term changed. So again, iPhone users still need to search My Sewnet and look for that little purple square, that one. Yep, it will look you'll still see that, but you do need to search under My Sewnet. And Meredith, someone has asked if you would demo a blind hem.
Of course somebody would ask for me to demo a blind hem. I was like, I know someone's going to ask me. That's okay. I can do it. And it works out good because I kind of want to show you, I've got my black thread in here and I have my white fabric. And I want to show you a couple things too. If y'all want to hang with me, where did I put there it is, my D foot. I'm going to put that one in. But I want to show y'all something too. Because again, I don't do blind hems that often, and I don't feel like a lot of people, unless you work at a tailor and alter clothing, you don't do a blind hem very often. So let's come over here. This is another thing. There's so many things I love about the Joy OS Advisor. Again, this can all be found on the app as well. We're going to come over here, choose woven medium, and we're going to do a blind hem. I'm going to select this down here. We're going to clear our work. And then this window that I was talking about at the beginning is going to pop up. What I love about this is I always forget how to fold the fabric when you're doing this. So it's going to tell me how to do that. It's going to tell me what I need, fabric, iron, the D foot, all of those things. But right here, I'm going to have written instructions. But if I touch this little play icon, look at this. I love this. I'm going to be on my wrong side, and I'm going to fold it over and press. And you can pin it too, it's helpful. And then fold it back. We're gonna line our fabric up. I'm gonna keep going. With the edge here, it's gonna tell you, hold on, it's gonna switch out the foot. I watch this video the most probably. This is one of the things I love to show people. And it's gonna catch on the side there. So let's do that. I'm gonna let it finish it out here so that when you flip it, you see those little points? Let me actually pause it really quick. Let me go back. So do you see those little points right there? That's what you want to barely catch your fabric so that when you turn it to the right side, you don't see that. If you catch too far, you're going to see those stitches even more. And if you don't catch at all, you're going to notice that it's not going to catch it. So I'm going to play and I'm going to show you how the right, the wrong, and the in-between way. And that's how it is. So let's close this out. And when I choose a blind hem, it's going to put that stitch in here for me. I don't have to go find it on my screen or anything like that. It's going to put it, but there it is right there. I wanted to show you where it was. But it's going to put it there. I can make those adjustments to it as well. So if I wanted to make it longer or I wanted to make it wider, things like that, I can make those adjustments. But I'm going to leave it right at its default there. So let's come over here. We're going to say our sharps on top is our right side since my white fabric is the top and bottom. So we're going to flip it over and we're going to fold it this way. So this is my right side here. This is my wrong side. And I'm going to pin this. Got some pins over here let me show you. I find it helpful to pin it because then when you turn it, it just catches the right way. And you would press that there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this back this way. So again, I'm still on my wrong side here. So let me show you all that again. I know that can be a little confusing. Let's do it with the denim here, because then you can see the right and wrong a little bit better. I'm going to just fold it, but I'm going to sew it on my white one. So this is my right side. I'm going to fold this over. I'm going to fold up right here. I've got a couple more pins here. We're going to pin just to hold it in place like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold it back just like this. And we're going to sew right along this edge right here. But I'm going to do it again on my white fabric because I want you guys to see the yes and the no of when you do certain things. So we're going to, there is also, let me show y'all this. There's a little ledge underneath the foot. You see that right there? And that's where this is going to guide along on the fabric right there. So let's put that back on there. Again, you would want to, if I was doing this really on white fabric, I would want white thread. This is one of those ones that you practice beforehand. So it's going to stitch forward. I'm going to go slow to show you this. We're going to stitch forward. And then you saw how it went over there. I'm going to go a little bit slower here. Stitch forward. And then it's going to go to the side on this next one. Nope, one more. There it goes. Over to the side. So I can already tell I'm catching it too much. And this takes some practice and some understanding of how this stitch should work. But you want to barely catch it. So I'm going to just barely catch it here. And then I'm going to overly catch it here in a second because I want y'all to see the difference. And then we're going to not catch it at all. I think I caught it there. Because when you don't catch it, then it's not going to catch it to fold it. So I like to show all of those different things. All right, let's stop there. Let's see. So again, this is my wrong side because I can't really see my shark. It's the bad side of my shark. But if I fold this over, now I'm on my right side. So here's what I want you to see. This, do you see these little tick marks right here? These are too much. Too much. You see them right here? That's too much. But this one right here, do you see this one beside it? You can't really see this one, but I can't pull it down either. You see that? I just barely caught it. But did I not even I tried to not catch it on some of them. Oh, so like this one right here, I didn't catch it. So you can tell that it's going to come apart. So again, and if you did this, that would be, it would be okay as long as you had thread that matched and that white would blend in a little bit more. So any questions on this? And I mean, I can take this out and do it again if you want me to do it again. But this is one of those ones you practice beforehand so you can see if you have your fabric folded the right way first and that you have it with the right seam allowance and that you're guiding it along the right way. So we can adjust where that goes if we need it to go out more or in more. Any questions on that?
I'm not seeing any questions.
Okay, I see people laughing at me on YouTube. Hopefully it's nothing bad.
Oh, no, that was actually laughing at me. Thanks a lot.
Okay, good. All right. Well, if there's not any other questions, again, this is going to be posted on Facebook for about 30 days, but you can always find it on YouTube if you need to reference it later. And if you have questions, I'm going to be checking those questions over the next week or so. Feel free to type those in. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if there's a machine that you're looking at that I can answer any questions for you on, anything like that. And we're happy to do that for you. But if there's not anything else, thank you so much. And happy National Sewing Month. And I will see y'all later. Thank you.